Hi there, it's Jonny Miller from Point Blank Online Music School, back once more to show you some really cool tricks with Ableton Live 8 and sounds and samples from clickproduce.com. Today I'm putting together a little tune. I wanted to create something that was kind of touched on breaks and touched on kind of funky house and dubstep. So I wanted to find some quite kind of tough sounds, and there's a Loopmasters sound pack that I've got which is perfect for this. Definitely one of the best names for a sample pack I've come across for a long time. Loopmasters Bomb Squad Tactical Beats and Sample Artillery. And this is put together by the guy that founded Public Enemy, a guy called Hank Shockley from New York. And it's a really, really good pack, this. It's huge, absolutely huge sound pack. Huge library of different folders of loops and sounds, all under this kind of war theme going on. So assault weapons, you've got drums and effects, and yeah, it's a very, very big library. And I've kind of taken some of the sounds from here, some beats, some percussion, and some little samples, some synth stabs and little loops to create this little sketch. And if I play you what I've got at the moment, I've got 5 tracks here, and I'll just go through them bit by bit. I've got the beats and the hi-hat here, and this gives you an idea of the kind of tough edge sounds that are in this sound library. What I wanted to do was create something that kind of had the feel of UK funky a little bit, and I added in a percussion, a single percussion sample into Simpler, and I'm using that as my snare. Now I guess one thing here is that you don't always need to use snare sounds to create a snare effect in your track, or should I say a backbeat sound, a sound that either plays on beat 2 or beat 4 of the bar. Or if you're programming something with this kind of vibe, a kind of UK funky kind of vibe, the programming looks a little bit like that, where we've got 4 of these snares per bar, and we've got this kind of tribal rhythm going on. Okay, so that's my drums, and then I added in a synth stab. Now this loop, what I've done, I've used clip envelopes here to pitch down the last of the stabs in the pattern. But this is just one of the basic loops that you get inside the Bomb Squad sound pack. And all I've done is customize it a little bit, just make it my own, as I always try to do with samples, just by transposing this last stab down by 1 semitone to create a slightly different melody. Lastly, we've got a lead part here, and this part is again another little loop. I've shortened this, and I've also used a warp marker here to just move the play position of that series of notes to work alongside this synth stab. So they kind of question and answer one another. And that's always a good thing to do when you're working with audio loops. Set a warp marker right at the beginning of the region of audio and just move it around the bar till it kind of fits alongside everything else that you're doing. Now for this tutorial, what I want to do is set up an effects rack. I'm going to show you how to put together 2 effects into an effects rack that both do very, very different things, and how we can use those effects to enhance this lead element in this track. I'm going to load in here an empty audio effects rack and start putting some devices into the rack as chains. A chain is a single effects device. I've just loaded in erosion there, and if I open up the chain list, there's my first chain with erosion present on that chain. If I load in another effect, if I put in beat repeat as well, for instance, now I've got 2 chains, the first one with erosion and the second one with beat repeat. So the incoming signal from the lead element is going to be processed separately, independently, once by the erosion device, but also once by the beat repeat. And the amalgamation of those two, the total sum of those 2 effects devices, goes to the rack's output. I've soloed the erosion device now inside the audio effects rack, so we can just hear what that device is doing to the lead sound. Now erosion adds a digital style effect to any signal that we run through it by way of modulating a small delay with either a sine wave or with a noise generator. Now the sine wave, we've got a frequency control here on the left and an amount value, and you can see that's moving the XY control on the main display of erosion. Now if I turn the amount up to just under 200 and just move the frequency value, let's hear what this parameter does to the lead sound. And you can hear it's giving me lots and lots of different kind of colours just by moving the frequency value. And this is going to give this sound kind of movement over time. What I'm going to do in the track is just work on that frequency amount. And I can actually do that inside clip envelopes. If I go into the clip and go into clip envelopes, the frequency value is actually open ready for me now. And if I put the main track on, so I can get loads and loads of colour effects there on the lead just by working that frequency value. And if inside clip envelopes, if I unlink the envelope, I can then program that over long periods, 8 bars, 16 bars, to move that lead element over time. Now there's a tutorial video that I did a few weeks back on unlinking envelopes, so you might want to reference back to that video to see how I did that. But that's a really nice little technique that will come in very, very handy here. Let's take a closer look at the second chain now, and this is one with beat repeat in. And what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is set up the beat repeat into gate mode. And in mix mode we hear the original signal passing through the beat repeat device, and on top of that we hear the beat repeat effect. In gate mode we don't hear the original signal at all, we only hear beat repeat's effect as it triggers. Now if I press play, I need to make sure that the beat repeat effect will actually trigger at the right time, because see here the lead synth plays midway through the bar. So I need to go back to beat repeat and change this parameter here, offset, which will move beat repeat's action to the right place within the bar. Now all we're hearing now is beat repeat's effect. If I turn the grid size up, turn it to a higher grid setting, we'll start to get kind of glitchy effects. Now in this instance I don't really want that. I'm going to turn that down to 1/6 and just extend this parameter here, the gate, and that's just going to elongate the effect of beat repeat throughout the whole bar. I'm just going to turn the volume down as well, so we get that kind of thing, which is similar to the original. And to make it different, I'm just going to use the pitch control to take that down an octave. Let's bring the variation up so we get different grid sizes too. And now I've got a nice little rhythmic kind of pattern. And if I put the erosion device in, or if I take the solo off basically, now we're hearing the effect of both chains. We're hearing erosion and we're hearing the effect of beat repeat as well. And because beat repeat is in gate mode, it's muting the original signal coming through beat repeat, so we get this nice kind of playoff feel between those two layers, the erosion and the beat repeat. Let's go back to the erosion chain and just work with that frequency amount again. Let's put the beat on. You can learn loads of cool tricks like this at pointblankonline.net, and I'll be back again next week to show you some cool little tricks with Ableton Live 8 and sounds and samples from clickproduce.com. Peace.
Bye.